It's an SUV, but a big truck hit her in the rear. She blew up.
Like a semi?
Yes, ma'am. It's a semi, 18-wheeler. The driver is still in the car, and it is on fire. It's burning big time.
The truck was going south on Wolf Creek Pass after 8 o'clock when it hit a barrier and rolled off a guardrail before going down a steep embankment.
A driver died when the cab of a truck crashed off the highway and down that hillside.
These 15 passes have burnt brakes, flipped rigs, and ended careers. This is the road no trucker wants to see on their GPS. A 26% grade, not a typo. Sonora Pass, carrying State Route 108 through the Sierra Nevada, hits an average grade over 8% for most of the climb, spiking as high as 26% through a stretch drivers still call Trailer House Curve, named after the trailers that used to fail attempting it. The road narrows to less than 2 lanes in places, with blind curves and drop-offs that have no guardrail to catch a mistake. Caltrans doesn't recommend it for anything unusually wide, heavy, or long, and the pass shuts down completely every winter, generally from November through May, once the first serious snowfall hits. It's one of the steepest paved highway grades anywhere in the country. But if you think a 26% grade is the scariest number on this list, wait until you meet a pass where the length of your own trailer decides whether you're even allowed on the road. There's no ambiguity here. If your vehicle and trailer together measure more than 35 feet, the state of Colorado simply won't let you drive Independence Pass. Full stop. That's how tight and unforgiving this narrow cliffside route into Aspen actually is. Tight curves, steep inclines, and stretches so narrow that oversized loads are banned outright. No exceptions. Long sections have no guardrail at all, just a drop off the shoulder and into the valley below. Like Sonora, it closes entirely every winter.
Well, had to happen. Independence Pass is closed for the season.
Yeah, a recent snowstorm, and this next one has shut down the road down for the earliest time in 8 years.
And reopening it each spring requires maintenance crews to replace washed out guardrails, clear rockfall, and repair pavement heaved up by months of freeze and thaw. It's one of the only mountain passes in America where the danger isn't just weather or grade, it's a hard legal limit on how big a truck is even allowed to attempt it. Speaking of passes where the mountain fights back every single winter, Colorado's Front Range has one that shuts down the highway to Winter Park with almost no warning at all. Sitting at over 11,300 feet on the Continental Divide, Berthoud Pass is the main road connecting Denver to Winter Park, which means it carries constant ski traffic directly through some of the most avalanche-prone terrain in the state. In late February and early March of 2025, this stretch saw 7 separate crashes in just 4 days, one of them fatal after a westbound truck lost traction on ice and veered directly into oncoming traffic. Colorado transportation crews run around-the-clock rotating shifts here during storms, laying anti-icing treatment before conditions turn, because once ice bonds to this road, there's very little room for error on the narrow switchbacks leading to the summit. It's proof that a pass doesn't need record snowfall to be dangerous. It just needs heavy traffic, ice, and no forgiveness for a single bad moment. But if a Colorado pass with real traffic sounds bad, Montana has one that shares its narrow corridor with a moving freight train. Marias Pass runs directly along the southern border of Glacier National Park, and unlike most mountain passes, truckers here aren't just sharing the road with wildlife and weather, they're sharing the corridor with an active rail line. The BNSF Railway and Amtrak's Empire Builder both run parallel to the highway through the same narrow mountain gap. At just over 5,200 feet, it's lower than many passes on this list, but that elevation doesn't tell the whole story. Winter temperatures here regularly plunge well below zero, and the pass sees genuine extremes, summer highs that have topped 100 degrees and winter lows that have bottomed out near -40. Add sudden mountain storms and a highway squeezed between rock faces and a working freight corridor, and you've got a pass where the danger isn't just the road, it's everything running alongside it. From a shared rail corridor in Montana, let's head to Washington, where one pass simply disappears every winter under snow deep enough to bury a truck. Stevens Pass sits in one of the heaviest snowfall corridors in the Cascades, a stretch of US 2 that regularly gets buried under enormous seasonal totals as Pacific storms slam directly into the mountains. The pass has a documented history of avalanche activity serious enough that Washington State maintains active avalanche control operations along the corridor, closing the highway outright when conditions turn dangerous rather than risk a slide burying the road with trucks still on it. Steep grades combine with the sheer volume of snowfall to create driving conditions that can shift from manageable to nearly impassable within a single afternoon. Truckers who run this route regularly build in extra time during winter months because a Stevens Pass closure isn't a brief inconvenience. It can mean sitting parked for hours waiting for control crews to clear the corridor. But if heavy snowfall alone sounds bad, Washington has an even higher, even more remote pass just to the north. Sherman Pass carries State Route 20 to an elevation of over 5,500 feet, making it the highest paved highway pass in the entire state of Washington. It's also one of the most remote, cutting through the Colville National Forest in the far northeastern corner of the state, far from any major city or quick roadside assistance. Like several passes on this list, it closes completely in winter, and even during the open season, sudden mountain weather and long stretches without services make it a genuine commitment for any driver, let alone one hauling freight. The isolation here is the real hazard. Breaking down on Sherman Pass doesn't mean a quick tow. It can mean a long, cold wait for help to arrive. From remote Washington wilderness, let's head south to a Utah grade so notorious locals gave it a grim nickname of its own. Soldier Summit sits at nearly 7,500 feet along US 6, a corridor that carries a heavy mix of coal trucks, freight haulers, and passenger traffic through central Utah, and the route has developed a reputation harsh enough that some locals have called stretches of US 6 among the most dangerous highways in the state. The grade combines with sharp curves and limited passing opportunities to create exactly the kind of conditions where a slower truck backs up traffic behind it, and impatient drivers attempt blind passes on curves with no room for error. Winter ice on the summit adds another layer entirely, turning an already demanding grade into a genuine test of braking discipline for anyone hauling a full load. But if a mountain summit sounds bad, wait until you meet a canyon so close to a major city that rush hour traffic and mountain grades collide every single day. Unlike most passes on this list, Parley's Canyon isn't remote at all. It's the main route connecting Salt Lake City to Park City and the resorts beyond, meaning it carries some of the heaviest daily truck volume of any mountain corridor in the country, packed directly alongside commuter and ski traffic. The canyon's steep, sustained grade has made runaway truck ramps a permanent fixture along the descent, and Utah's Department of Transportation has repeatedly flagged this stretch of I-80 as one of the state's highest crash corridors, driven largely by a mix of speed, sudden weather changes, and drivers unfamiliar with mountain grades getting funneled directly into rush hour traffic below. It's proof that you don't need isolation to make a pass dangerous. Sometimes it's simply too much traffic funneled through too little room. From a canyon packed with commuters, let's head to the emptiest, most extreme highway summit in the entire state of Texas. Most people don't associate Texas with mountain passes at all, which is exactly what makes Guadalupe Pass such a surprise. Cutting through the Guadalupe Mountains in the far western corner of the state, it reaches the highest elevation of any point on the Texas highway system, and the surrounding terrain couldn't be more different from the flat plains most of the state is known for. The isolation here is severe, long stretches with no services, no cell coverage, and temperature extremes that swing dramatically between scorching desert heat at lower elevations and genuine winter cold at the summit. Truckers running this corridor are essentially crossing a stretch of high desert wilderness that has more in common with New Mexico's mountain passes than with anything else in Texas. But if isolation is the danger here, Appalachia has a historic gap that forced engineers to bury the highway underground entirely. For nearly 2 centuries, this was the primary route settlers used to cross the Appalachian Mountains into Kentucky, and for just as long, the road climbing through it was steep, narrow, and genuinely treacherous. The old highway grade over the gap grew dangerous enough over the decades that engineers eventually gave up trying to maintain it as a surface route entirely, boring a tunnel directly through the mountain instead to bypass the worst of the old road. Older sections of approach grade on both the Kentucky and Tennessee sides still carry steep climbs and tight curves for truckers who aren't routed directly through the tunnel bypass. It's one of the only entries on this list where the solution to the danger was, quite literally, going underneath the mountain instead of over it. From a mountain, engineers tunneled through. Let's head to a Virginia ridge where truckers still climb the old-fashioned way. Big Walker Mountain carries I-77 through a steep, sustained climb in southwestern Virginia. one of several serious grades truckers hit along this corridor through the Appalachians. Like Cumberland Gap, this route also has a tunnel bypass option nearby, but plenty of traffic still runs the mountain grade directly, especially oversized loads that can't fit through the tunnel restrictions. The combination of a long, steep descent and Appalachian fog that regularly rolls in over the ridge creates the same brake-heating, visibility-cutting conditions that have made other Appalachian grades on this list notorious. It's a mountain most drivers outside the trucking industry have never heard of, and exactly the kind of grade that experienced truckers know to downshift for well before they see the summit. From Virginia's ridgelines, let's head north to a stretch of New Hampshire highway where the danger isn't the grade at all, it's simply how far you are from help. Crawford Notch cuts through New Hampshire's White Mountains along a narrow gap flanked by steep granite walls on both sides, a route that's been carrying travelers through this exact choke point since the 1800s. The notch itself creates a natural wind tunnel effect during storms, and ice forms on the steepest sections well before it does on surrounding roads at lower elevation. Services are sparse through the heart of the notch, and sudden White Mountain weather, fog rolling in fast, temperatures dropping hard after dark, catches drivers off guard who assumed New England mountains couldn't compete with anything out west. It's a reminder that this list isn't only a Rocky Mountain and Sierra Nevada story. The Appalachians in New England carry their own quiet, historic danger. We're heading back to Colorado, to a pass so consistently battered by whiteout conditions that locals plan entire trips around avoiding it. Rabbit Ears Pass sits at over 9,400 feet along the main route into Steamboat Springs, and it's earned a reputation among Colorado drivers for sudden severe whiteout conditions that can drop visibility to almost nothing with very little warning. Colorado's transportation crews close this stretch regularly during major storms, and truckers running the corridor know that a clear morning here offers no guarantee about conditions by afternoon. The pass connects two of Colorado's busiest mountain corridors, meaning heavy freight and ski traffic both rely on a road that can flip from manageable to genuinely dangerous within the same trip. From a whiteout-prone Colorado summit, let's head south to a historic trade route where wagon trains once faced the exact same climb trucks fight today. Raton Pass has carried travelers across the Colorado and New Mexico border for centuries, first as a punishing stretch of the Santa Fe Trail, now as a steep, sustained grade on Interstate 25. Sitting at well over 7,800 feet, the pass demands a long, steady climb heading north and a long brake-testing descent heading south, exactly the kind of stretch where overheated brakes have historically caused problems for heavily loaded trucks. Sudden mountain weather at this elevation can turn a routine climb into a slow, careful crawl, and the pass's history as a genuine obstacle for travelers goes back long before diesel engines ever existed. For our final entry, we're heading to Washington State, to a seasonal pass so remote that it simply doesn't exist for half the year. Chinook Pass climbs to over 5,400 feet through Mount Rainier National Park, connecting central Washington to the Puget Sound region through some of the most dramatic alpine terrain in the state. Like several entries on this list, it closes completely every winter, typically from late fall through late spring, once snowfall makes the narrow route impassable. When it's open, the pass demands careful driving through tight curves carved directly into the mountainside, with steep drop-offs and minimal shoulder on long stretches. It's a route that exists on drivers' schedules for barely half the year and disappears completely for the other half, a fitting reminder that on this list, sometimes the safest way to handle a mountain pass is simply not being able to drive it at all. 15 mountain passes, 15 different ways to test a trucker's nerve, and every single one of them still gets driven every single day by someone who knows exactly what they're getting into.